spoilers, but for both of you, you both get it. This show.
Get our
I would
condo?
love to. I was
What,
like,
you got it?
I would love to know. How did you feel about how your characters go out, so to speak?
I love the way he went out because it frustrates Oz.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean that's basically it. And he goes out in a rage, which is how he lived his life after episode 5 or after episode 6.
Yeah.
He lives his life in anger and fury, and he goes out in anger and fury.
I love it.
Great. I mean, the hands of her. I mean, come on.
I know.
You see it coming to a certain extent. You know, these two forces are like this the whole time, right? So I loved it, and I love that it's like just bunking out of nowhere. You're just like, wait, what? You know, whereas on one hand you're like, okay, something bad's gonna happen between the two of them, but then the way it happens with the expedited nature of how it happens is you're just like, oh shit.
I didn't see it coming.
It's very surprising.
Yeah, I thought you guys. Oh my god!
He's like,
Took me by surprise.
He's finally worked it out. No, she's like, nah.
He's like, yeah, change my mind. It's great.
I feel like a broken record talking about the show because I just yell Italians because I do love how Italian this show feels, and not in like a stereotypical way. It's a fun like nod to kind of how Italian families work in a weird way, even though it is mob based. When you guys are approaching these characters that are not only legends in Batman comics, but do have that like they have to have that Italian energy that like people like me are gonna watch and be like, yeah, that reminds me of my grandpa. How do you navigate both the comic side of it as well as like the real life people that people are gonna like relate this back to?
I think the grandpa thing was about me.
No, my grandpa.
I saw you kind of going, wait a minute.
Grandpa.
Not that's
Just
Oz.
because it's gray hair.
I mean, the thing about Sal is that he's Italian, but he's also Persian. I mean, he fell in love with a Persian woman, and so it's kind of the melding of those two cultures, which are different but very similar in some ways. I mean, they're both descended from great civilizations, and they feel that. I mean, doesn't Shorey look like an Italian mob wife? I mean, she so does.
Yeah.
And yet she's rattling off the Persian, and I'm trying to rattle off the Persian. And I mean, I thought that was a really cool
So cool, man.
mix.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of upped it a notch. So yeah, it's kind of based on what we all know about mob families and Italian families, and you know, because we all know that language, right? You know that language. All the audience all knows that language, but you know, they just kind of twist it up a little bit. Make it.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up, my Michael Kelly, but my mother's maiden name Topolo in Philadelphia, and it was Italian immigrants, so Irish and Italian immigrants.
Oh my gosh.
Italian, Scottish, and Pittsburgh.
Philly. Oh my gosh.
So, you know, yeah. And, you know, I did try to make my guy a little less of that bigger with the accent and whatnot. Just a choice that I made, but I wanted the nature of, you know, you don't really see a lot of the scene. You hear a lot of the scene of Oz and I going at it when Sophia is slowly coming in the room in one of the episodes, episode 3 maybe. And you hear us bickering and in those moments, you know, like a fight, and a good back and forth. And I remember we were filming it, Colin and I both went off book, and we were just screaming at one another, screaming at one another in the scene. And he said something, and I literally screamed back at him, but I agreed with him. And it was just like we got so hot and heated, and I was like, I know. And he was like, oh, then I won. And I was like, and it was just like that frustration that you know from that type of family bickering.
What I love about the series is the chemistry you guys have with Colin and Kristen. How easy was that, especially with the sparring sessions that you guys would have, the screaming matches? It was just effortlessly on film. Was that easy for you guys to just get into?
I mean, I'll speak for me personally. Working with the two of them, I mean, you're literally boxing with the best. It's, you're sparring with the best. You're doing it with the best, and sometimes you're, as a fellow actor, you're the beneficiary of that, and you get to fall into that rhythm with them and fall into that the cadence and the way a scene goes. When you're working with amazing people, it's so much easier. It's just so much easier, right?
Oh, yeah, that's a great answer. That's absolutely true. In fact, when I was working with Colin, I would fall into it so much that I kept referring to him as Sal.
and just how lovely and welcoming Colin was from
From the
table
beginning.
read. From the fucking table read. Here was a guy who was just like, "Hey man, I'm so happy you're here. It's gonna be great." Like, you have your lead actor as a cheerleader. You have nowhere to go but in the right direction.
Yeah.
I love how from the jump your character starts to trust Oz a bit because of the ring, and that was sort of the moment we get introduced to Sal's trajectory in the show. Was there anything on set that was like the equivalent of the ring, whether it was a prop, a set, a costume that you guys looked at and you were like, wow, we're in this world? You had kind of already.
My precious.
Yes.
My precious.
Was there anything like that you were like, wow, I feel like this is the most Gotham thing that makes me trust the environment and feel like I can really perform in this space?
It was more than, I mean, it was the whole environment. It was the whole environment. The ring helped. I wouldn't say that Sal ever trusted Oz, however.
That's for the show.
So the ring found its home,
Yeah.
right? It found its way home to Sauron, and so Sauron has the ring now. So all power to me, and Oz can go fuck
Are you a
himself.
Comic-Con? Are you a bit of a Comic-Con geek?
No, but I've done enough of them. I've done enough of them. So.
There's a Lord of the Rings panel tomorrow.
Is there? No. I won't go.
No.
I don't know that much.
It's funny you said the ring though, because I felt that obviously the sets were unbelievable. All sets were unbelievable, right? But I did when I put my pinky ring on every day.
Yeah.
When I got dressed always, I did my suit first, and then I put that freaking ring on, and it was I just felt okay. I'm Johnny Viti. That ring grounded me. It's just funny that you use the ring as the thing, because it was, for me, that was 100% it. It's like, yeah, okay, I look him with the outfit, but then you put the ring on, you're like, no, I feel like him.
Did you keep it?
It's crazy. No. I know. I usually keep a lot of shit.
My question is for you. You were terrifying in House of Cards.
Thank you.
Johnny Viti is in that same vein of terrifying. Can you kind of compare and contrast like Doug Stamper and Johnny?
Oh God. They're both fucked up. I play fucked up people. I don't know what to say. I don't know why. Nobody who watches me on television knows that I have teeth. I don't know why. I always get cast as these people. But I'll take it. I'm fortunate. I think it's because, post him, people see me as that kind of guy, right? Inevitably, they always want a little bit of that guy in whatever character I'm playing. So that's probably the similarities.
Thank you. I guess my just small question is, you both were playing men who I think are survivalists, right? You're surviving in this, and you're trying to obtain power. Can you just share if there's a specific scene that you felt really connected with?
A specific theme that what?
Scene.
Scene.
Yeah,
You felt
scene that you
connected.
connected. Yeah, that you connected with. That you were just like, this is awesome. I love my job.
Maybe the scene in 5 when I'm with Shore and we're making that deal, and that's kind of the center until later on in the show, where you see Sal really, he's an apex predator. I mean, he thinks he's an apex predator, and he's on top of it, especially now that the Falcons are going away. It's like, it's just a matter of time, get rid of this Oswald Cobblepot guy. Get rid of him. It's not going to be a problem. And And so it was kind of that hubris, that kind of shit. Whatever, we'll take care of it. Don't worry about it, honey. You know, I tell her in Farsi that don't worry, we got this covered. And that was kind of the scene where you see the end of the boss, and then after that, all you see is the thug and the animal. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Yes.
All right, that's
The
all we have
monster.
time for. Thank you.
But he has a good answer.
Thanks, guys.
It's the
Thank
torture.
you.
The torture scene.
It's the torture.
It's the torture scene.
It's the torture scene. Yeah.
100%.